Here's the mistake most people make when trying to attract someone they genuinely want. They focus entirely on what to do, what to say, how to act, what moves to make. They treat attraction like a performance, like there's a script they just need to memorize. And then they're confused when it doesn't work, when the person they wanted eventually leaves, when all the effort, all the resources, all the correct actions add up to nothing. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Attraction is not something you perform. It's something you become. And there's a massive difference between those two things. Today we're going to break down the real psychology of genuine attraction. Not tricks, not tactics, not manipulation dressed up as advice. The actual psychological principles that make someone genuinely compelling. The kind of compelling that doesn't fade. The kind that builds over time instead of collapsing under pressure. This applies to everyone. Because the fundamentals of what makes a person genuinely attractive are universal. And they all start from the same place. Who you actually are when nobody is watching. Principle 1. Emotional stability is everything. Inside every human being, there's an ancient evaluation system. It runs constantly beneath conscious awareness, scanning the people around them for one critical question. Is this person stable enough to build something with? Not physically strong, not financially powerful, stable, emotionally, psychologically, internally stable. And here's how that evaluation actually works. People watch how you respond to stress. They watch whether you collapse under pressure or remain composed. They watch whether your mood depends on their approval, whether a critical comment sends you spiraling, whether uncertainty makes you desperate. When someone sees you change your position the moment they push back, when they see your confidence disappear the moment they seem unimpressed, something registers in them. Not always consciously, but the attraction decreases. Because what they're sensing is instability. And instability is not something people want to build a life around. Emotional stability doesn't mean being cold or unfeeling. It means having an internal foundation that external circumstances can't easily shake. It means being someone who can sit inside without panicking, who can face conflict without either shutting down or exploding, who doesn't need constant reassurance to feel okay about themselves. This is the foundation everything else is built on. Without it, nothing else works long-term. Principle 2. Emotional range creates connection. Here's where most people get it backwards. They assume that stability means predictability. That being solid means being flat. That providing security means eliminating all uncertainty from the relationship. And they slowly turn something that started with genuine spark into something that feels like a routine. Not because anything went wrong, but because they confuse stability with sameness. Human beings are emotional creatures. We don't just need safety. We need to feel things. We need contrast. We need moments that stand out from the baseline. Think about any story that genuinely moves you. It doesn't move you because everything goes smoothly. It moves you because there's tension. There's depth. There are moments of genuine emotion that cut through the ordinary. The people who are most compelling to be around aren't the ones who provide a flat, predictable experience. They're the ones who create genuine emotional moments. Who can be serious and then suddenly find something genuinely funny. Who can be completely present in a difficult conversation and then shift into something lighter when the moment calls for it. This isn't about manufacturing drama or creating artificial tension. It's about being a full, multidimensional person who experiences and expresses the full range of human emotion authentically. When you bring genuine emotional range to your interactions, people don't just enjoy your company. They start to need it. Because you provide something that most of their daily life doesn't. Genuine feeling. Principle 3. Your life is your most attractive quality. This is perhaps the most important principle and the most misunderstood one. When someone makes another person the center of their entire world, they believe they're demonstrating love. They're actually demonstrating desperation. And desperation, regardless of how it's packaged, is not attractive. Here's the psychological reality. People are attracted to lives they want to be part of, not to voids that want to absorb them. When you have genuine friendships, real passions, actual goals you're pursuing, work that challenges you, interests that excite you, you become something fundamentally different. You become someone with a world worth entering. Someone whose presence adds something because their absence means something. The person who drops everything the moment someone shows interest, who cancels their plans, who abandons their hobbies, who lets their friendships fade because they've found someone to focus on entirely, that person isn't demonstrating love. They're demonstrating that they had nothing worth holding on to in the first place. Build a life that genuinely excites you, not as a strategy, not to appear more attractive, but because you deserve a life that's actually worth living. And when you have that, something changes in how you carry yourself. The confidence becomes real because it's earned. The security becomes genuine because it comes from what you've built, not from whether someone approves of you. Principle 4. Understand people deeply. Everyone carries their history with them, the experiences that shape them, the relationships that form their understanding of what connection looks and feels like. The most genuinely compelling people aren't those who've mastered techniques. They're those who've developed genuine curiosity about the people in front of them. What does this person actually need? Not what they say they want in the abstract. What do they actually need from a connection? What makes them feel safe? What makes them feel seen? What kind of presence genuinely helps them versus what kind of presence overwhelms or suffocates them? This requires listening. Real listening, not listening while preparing your next response. Listening while actually trying to understand the person in front of you. When someone feels genuinely understood, something shifts, because feeling truly understood is rare. Most people go through life feeling vaguely unknown, even by the people closest to them. The person who actually sees them, who notices what they don't always say out loud, who responds to who they actually are rather than who they present themselves as, that person becomes important in a way that's difficult to replace. This is empathy as a foundation for genuine connection. Not as a technique, as a way of actually engaging with another human being. Principle 5. Be multidimensional. The people who hold attention over time aren't one note. They're not always the same version of themselves in every situation. They can be serious when seriousness is required and find genuine humor in the same day. They can be strong in moments that require strength and vulnerable in moments that require honesty. They can lead when leadership serves the situation and follow when someone else has better insight. This versatility isn't performance. It's integration. It's the natural result of someone who has actually done the work of developing themselves across multiple dimensions. The alternative is getting stuck, becoming one character who shows up the same way regardless of context. And one-dimensional people, no matter how impressive that one dimension is, eventually become predictable, and predictable becomes forgettable. What actually creates lasting attraction? Here's the synthesis of everything we've covered. Genuine, lasting attraction is not created by what you do to someone. It's created by who you are and the life you've built. Emotional stability creates safety. Safety creates trust. Trust creates the foundation for genuine intimacy. Emotional range creates engagement. Engagement creates connection. Connection creates the kind of bond that deepens over time instead of fading. A rich, full life creates genuine value. Genuine value creates authentic desire. Not the manufactured desire that comes from scarcity tactics, but the real desire that comes from encountering someone who actually has something worth wanting. Deep empathy creates the feeling of being understood. Being understood creates attachment. Real attachment creates the kind of relationship that neither person wants to walk away from. And multidimensionality creates sustained interest. Sustained interest prevents the inevitable collapse that happens when someone finally sees all of you and realizes there wasn't much there. The most important thing, stop trying to figure out how to get someone. Start figuring out how to become someone. Because the version of you that is emotionally stable, genuinely engaged with life, deeply curious about people, continuously developing, honest about who they are and what they want, that version of you doesn't need tactics. That version of you is genuinely attractive. Not to everyone, not universally, but to the right people in the right way. And the right people responding authentically to who you actually are is worth infinitely more than many people responding to a performance you can't sustain. The work isn't learning how to appear more attractive. The work is becoming someone who is genuinely worth choosing. Someone whose life is worth entering. Someone whose presence actually adds something. That work is harder than learning techniques. It takes longer. It requires genuine self-examination and genuine effort over time. But it creates something that techniques never can, a real life with real connections built on who you actually are. Stop performing. Start becoming. That's where it starts. And that's where it ends.